Tage Thompson just got paid by the Buffalo Sabres. And oh boy, you are going to want to see this signing. We'll talk about the details right now. Hey everybody, so we've got some monster contract news to talk about tonight involving the Buffalo Sabres and young forward Tage Thompson. Buffalo has locked up Thompson to a 7-year contract extension worth over $7 million per season. And boy, this is a big commitment to a player coming off a career best year last season. And Buffalo has got to hope that Tage Thompson can continue to play the way that he did last year and score the way that he did last year, or this could end up being a pretty ugly contract. It's definitely risky here from Buffalo. It's boom or bust. And we're just going to have to wait and see if Thompson can continue to score the way that he did last season, or if things go south from here. But let's take a look at it. Right from the Buffalo Sabres, here to stay. They're certainly looking happy about it. But they've agreed to terms with forward Tage Thompson on a 7-year contract worth $50 million. That comes out to $7.14 million per season AAV. So his cap hit is definitely going to be going up when this kicks in. And I mean, Tage Thompson is a very interesting player to take a look at from a statistical standpoint, from an analytical standpoint. He had by far his best season in the NHL last year, and it's just all going to come down to, can he repeat that? Can he keep that up? And that's really going to be the determining factor on whether or not this contract works out long term. He's only 24 years old, so he is young. That's a good sign here for Buffalo, is that he can continue to develop, continue to improve, get even better. And I really think they're banking on him continuing to get better and improve even from where he was at last season. He's big body, 6'7", 218 pounds. Not a super physical player for somebody of that size, but he is a very good skater, and he does have a very good shot. And that shot was on display last season, where he scored 38 goals in 78 games, which was by far his best goal-scoring season in the NHL. It was his best season in the NHL, and literally across the board in every category. And now it's just about, can he do that again? And there's certainly a lot of questions as to whether Thompson is going to be able to keep this up or not. This is a boom or bust contract. This could really go really well, or this could really come back and bite the Sabres in the ass. And, again, only time is going to determine that. There's really no way knowing right now which way that's going to go. And for general manager Kevin Adams, this honestly might be one of those defining moves of his tenure as Sabres GM, whether it's in a positive way or in a negative way. I mean, if Thompson reverts back to 40 points and this blows up in their face, this is going to be looked at as one of those horrible moves that Buffalo has been known to make over the past decade. Or if Tage Thompson turns into a point-per-game player and a 40-goal scorer, then Kevin Adams is going to be commended for this signing, and it's going to end up looking great. And he's going to set up the Sabres long-term with this great young forward who's highly producing. So, again, there's no way to know which way it's going to go right now. And we're just going to have to wait and see how this works out. But there's definitely some risk involved here committing to Thompson. I want to talk about kind of why there are some signs pointing towards this being risky. And that we need to look at his career as a whole. So, he was originally drafted in the first round by the St. Louis Blues. He did come in, play a little bit with the Blues, but he was involved in the Ryan O'Reilly trade that sent O'Reilly from Buffalo to St. Louis, and Thompson was part of the package that came back to Buffalo. It was not a great start for Tage Thompson initially with the Sabres. He played 65 games in 2018-2019 and only managed 12 points. That was obviously not what the Buffalo Sabres were hoping for. He then only played one game in 2019-2020, missed basically that entire season. Came back the shortened season in 2021, 56 games. He played 38 of those 56 games. Obviously, did miss some significant time out of that year. Still only managed 8 goals and 14 assists, however, in those 38 games. Or 14 points, excuse me. 14 points in 38 games is not exactly what you're looking for from a guy who's supposed to be a young budding star player. Then last season happened, and everything changed for Tage Thompson last season. 78 games, blew away his previous career high in goals, scoring 38 goals last season, added on another 30 assists for 68 points. He went from a career high points of 14 in 2021 to now a career high in points of 68 in 21-22. Just obviously just an absolute breakout year for Thompson last season. And one of the biggest things to look at in how that happened was his shooting percentage. This is a fairly, underappreciated stat, I think, over here. But if you look at what Tage Thompson was shooting early in his career, a little over 5%, a little over 6%, a little over 8%. His shooting percentages were not very high. And then last season, Thompson shot 15%, which obviously was way higher, almost double what he had shot the year before percentage-wise, and way higher than any percentage he shot at any point in his NHL career to this point. So shooting percentage went absolutely through the roof last season. Goal scoring went absolutely through the roof last season. Also, according to JFresh Hockey, great account to follow on Twitter if you're into the analytical side of the game, Tage Thompson had the 4th highest goals scored above expected in the entire NHL last season. So he scored way more goals than he analytically should have last year. And now the big question becomes, can Tage Thompson keep that up? Can he do that again? Was this just a flash in the pan, crazy good year where he ended up scoring a lot more goals than he should have, shot a really high percentage, and it's going to be hard to replicate this? Or is Tage Thompson going to be able to shoot a high percentage for the rest of his career? Is he going to be able to do this year in and year out? And is he going to continually score more goals than he's expected to analytically year in and year out throughout the rest of his NHL career, or at least throughout the rest of this contract? So that's really the big question here. If Tage Thompson can continue scoring goals the way that he did last season, this contract's probably going to work out okay for Buffalo. If Tage Thompson reverts back, regresses a little bit, doesn't shoot as high of a percentage, doesn't score as many goals, this could really end up blowing up in the face of the Buffalo Sabres and could end up being a massive overpay. So I'm not going to say this is a bad contract for Buffalo, because it may not end up being one. It may end up being a very solid contract. It's just a risky contract that I think is very boom or bust. And this could go really, really well for the Buffalo Sabres, or this could really, really blow up in their face. And it's just going to, go one way or the other. And hopefully for the Sabres' sake, and certainly hopefully for Tage Thompson's sake, and certainly a guy that I'm rooting for and hope that he continues to do well, I hope that it goes in a positive direction for Thompson and the Sabres. So that's my opinion on the Tage Thompson contract extension with the Buffalo Sabres. I think it's a very boom or bust deal, and maybe a defining contract of the Kevyn Adams era as general manager of the Sabres. We're just going to have to wait and see which way it goes, whether this goes really well or really not well for Thompson and Buffalo. But with that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and hope you enjoyed the video. With that, please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. All those links are down in the description. If you'd like to further support the channel, the links to our merchandise store, memberships, and donations are down in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll talk to you all soon.